I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be making a simple pop-up card. As you can see on the screen, we've got a cat, we've got Let's Read, we've got stars, we've got hearts. The stars and hearts are the shapes within Design Space. I'll show you how to use those. And the other two are images from Cricut Access. Now, you don't have to use those images, but you can pick some of your own or something that you've already downloaded from the internet. So this is what the card is going to look like in its finished format. As you can see, it's got a nice little pop-up. It's got the cat, it's got the Let's Read, we've added the stars, and of course on the outside of the card you can add your own saying, and that is a perfect way to give a little card with a little pizzazz to it that's right out of the ordinary. So let's get started with this project and let's move over to Cricut Design Space. Here we are in Design Space, and of course we're going to make a simple pop-up. We're not going to design this one yourself, but it comes from our card compendium and one of the weekly folds that we put out, folds and cuts. So we are going to add that to our desktop. So let's just click off on the letters. I'm going to turn the grid line back on. We're going to come up here to upload, and we're going to find one called Bonus 14 Cricut Score, and that's exactly the one we're going to use. I will make sure that you have this availability in our membership site, and it is called Bonus 14. Okay, I'm just making note to make sure I get that to you. I'm just going to insert that image. Now this one is pre-set up for you as everything is in the card compendium. You'll notice that we have a 10-inch wide by 6-inch card, which is absolutely perfect. Our score lines are set, and we have 2 additional cutouts here, and this is where we're going to have a lot of fun with this particular card, because these are going to pop out. And we're going to be able to put some embellishments on each side of these and some more on the side. So the big thing with doing a pop-up card is coming up with the things that you want to put in as embellishments. So we're going to see what images are available for us that we can use in this particular project. So I'm going to click on Images. Now I'm just looking at a couple of things here. Well, there's a cat. So maybe I will insert that one, and that's a pretty big cat, but we'll make it a little smaller. I'll do the double arrows here just to make it smaller, and I might put that cat, I guess it's not going to fit quite there. I might put the cat right here. That would look pretty cute. And then I'm going to look for something else to put in here, and I just want you to get very used to using some of the images that you see here. And we have a black cat there, so we could pick something else. We could put a pumpkin. I'm just looking down the list. If you're an Access member, you'll have access to all of these. So maybe this is going to be a back to school or a fall or something you want to do with crayons, or maybe it is just something simple you want to give someone a thank you. But let's see this one. It says Let's Read, so I'm going to insert the image here. Now Let's Read is pretty big, so once again I'm going to make it smaller. We're going to fit it in here. Now the Let's Read, if you look up here, it's a basic cut. I think what I want to do with it is just have it draw out, and then we can pick a color here. So we're going to have it draw out, say in raspberry. So we're just going to have it draw right on the card. Now this cat, we could have it as a basic cut all by itself and then put it into place after it does a draw and cut. So I think we need to set this one up as a print and cut. So let's go to the operation here and standard print then cut. Great. So that's we're going to cut this one out, and then we're going to glue it on right here. This one we want to print right on here. Now the other thing is, this is the inside of the card. What you want is a back of the card as well. So in order to get the back of the card, I'm going to click on the basic cut here. I am going to duplicate it. Now it's going to duplicate with a couple of extra lines here so we know what size we want. Now we can't seem to get rid of those lines, but we know the correct size. So what we want to do instead of the duplication in this case, because we have the template and we don't want these cut lines, is we're going to make a rectangle exactly the same size. So I'm just going to move this down a bit so that we can see it. If we come up here, we see it's 10 by 6. So let's go over to our shapes and let's pick on a square. Now with the square, it's going to be a different shape altogether. It's square, so we need to unlock it. So let's unlock it right here. And we know that we need to make this 10 inches and we need to make it 6 inches tall. Let's make it 6 inches. Now that is the perfect size. I'm just going to get rid of the one behind us here. So I'm just going to pull it out here. All we need to do is click on the little X here or click on delete in the layers panel. All right, I really don't like that color, so let's click on it and let's pick the same color as this, and you'll notice that it's in the material colors. So let's just click on that. Now the other thing is we need a score line down the center, so let's go over to shapes. Let's pick on a score line. Did it come up? Yes it did. It's right here. Now this particular score line is not going to be the right length. We know we need it to have it 6 inches, so let's make this a 6. And we need to take both of these together. We're going to come up here to a line and we're going to center them horizontally and we're going to center them vertically. So now they've come together. Now that gives us the perfect score with the perfect backing of the card. I need to come over here now to attach. Makes it one piece and it won't fall apart. Now let's go back up here to this card. We've got let's read in here. We actually need to attach it here, but we might want to put some other text or other words. We've got a cat here and we've got let's read, but we may want to put a few other little decorations in here. To make it easy, I'm just going to make some stars and some hearts. So let's start with a star and then let's come back here to shapes. Let's get a heart. There's our heart. All right, I'm going to make these pretty small, so I'm just going to drag it down, and of course with a heart I want to make it red. And we're actually just going to draw these into place. So what I want to do is then change this from a basic cut to a pen, and of course I'm going to change that to a nice brick red just like the other one. So this will just draw on our surface, and then I can duplicate these and just sort of put them in order the way I want them. This way we're decorating this nice simple pop-up card and it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna put 4 of them in place here. Okay, same with the star. I just want to make it a little bit smaller. Actually that's way too big. Let's make it this color. Now we want this one also to go with a pen. I'm going to pick on the pen, and we don't want a black star. Let's see if we've got something like this one's called candy corn. That will work. We're going to have it draw in place. I'm going to duplicate it and duplicate it. Duplicate it. Maybe we'll put one more. Now these will all draw on top of the card, and then this is the one that we've got set up as print then cut, so it'll print and then cut. Actually I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to put it in here. I'm also going to make this a draw. I was going to draw the outline, which is fine. We can always color it in, and black cat is okay, so we'll just leave it as that. Now what we want to do here is highlight everything, absolutely everything. We want everything to stay in the place it is. You still have room to write by hand if you want to. And then we're going to come over here and attach it. Now it's going to come up as one piece, and this will be one piece as well. Now they're both 6 inches, so that's 12 inches. That's going to be too much for one sheet of paper. You're going to end up using 2. but I'm going to show you a little trick. I've got a few pieces of paper I want to use, so let's go ahead and let's save this. And this is going to be Simple Pop-Up, and I'm going to start a new collection. I'm going to call this September Makes S-E-P-T. There we go. Makes. Let's create. And I'm going to call this Simple Pop-Up with embellishments. Now the big thing here is just learning how to use the extra little images that you get. You don't really need to have a lot of imagination to be able to draw when you can use these images. Okay, we've saved it. Let's come across here and let's go to Make It. Now it's going to come up with the plain one, the backing of the card. You can use any color you want. I've chosen a purple. And then on the inside of the card it's going to draw, and that will be separate. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and click on Continue and decide the type of paper I'm going to use. Most often I use a medium cardstock. You'll see it in my favorites here, but over in Popular it'll give you some ideas of what you can use. And I'm going to just pick on the medium cardstock, and it wants my single scoring wheel. Now if you're using an Air 2, you will likely just use the stylus. And if you're using a Joy, you may have to make the card just a little bit shorter, but it definitely will use the single scoring wheel. Actually, the Joy won't have a scoring tool, so you won't be able to score it, but it will cut out the pieces and draw for you. So you can use a Joy for a lot of this. Okay, let's go over to the demo table now. And here we have, over on the demo table, I'm going to use this nice purple for the backing of my card. So I'm going to use a standard grip mat here. And I'm just going to put it up in the corner. There we go, as straight as possible. I'll just move this out of the way for a second so we can see what we're doing. I use a brayer tool to push down my cardstock to make sure it does not come off the mat, because sometimes mats lose a little bit of their stick, and I just have to pull this out. It's asking me for my scoring wheel. So I have all my tools in this nice handy little caddy, and I do believe this is my scoring wheel here. Well, that looks like the cutting wheel. Let's try this one. And it says 01, so I know I have the right tool. I'm just going to put that into place right here. Just move my tools out of the way. Now I am going to have to bring my machine closer to me, and the reason is I need enough room at the back for the mat to slide through. So let's just let the mat load. And we are ready to do some cutting, or some scoring and cutting. Remember, this is the outside of the card, so I could add more embellishments later if I wanted to. Now it's going to want my fine point blade next, so I'll just take the scoring and just put it off to the side. My fine tip blade is in next. And push the go. Keep my hands out of the way so it doesn't come and get me. Okay, time to eject the mat. Now I'm going to eject the mat and then put the next one on. So I'm just going to roll it over. I don't want my card to to be rolly, so I roll the mat off, and then I can take my extra pieces off. So I have the back of the card. Now, for the inside of the card, I'm going to use something a little more plain, and this is simply a thick cardstock that I got at, it was called the Home Office Supplies, and it's just an 8.5 by 11. This will save you a little bit of money when you go to get your various inside parts of your cards. And the reason I use this is because I want it to draw on the card. Now, you'll notice that it only comes up to the 11 mark, and that's why our card is only 10 inches wide. So it'll make it a little easier. And once again, I'm going to use my brayer tool. Now, if I take a look and see what it's asking me for right now, it is asking me for the type of paper I'm going to use. I'm going to go back to the medium cardstock, and it wants a black pen and my scoring wheel. So what I'm going to do is just put my scoring wheel inside here, and then I have a choice of the kinds of pens that I am going to use here. Now, Cricut puts out this pen set, so I've got lots of colors inside here. So what I want to do, it wants to give me the black one because this is for the black cat. So I will simply take my black one out of here. It looks like a dark blue, not quite black, but it'll do. It says here navy, so we're going to have a navy cat, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put my pen in place like it asks me to, and then I'm going to load the mat. And once again, make sure you've got enough room in behind. And we're going to start doing some drawing here, which is a lot of fun. Now it's asking me to put in a raspberry pen, so I'm going to take my navy one out. I always try to replace them right away into their slot. So raspberry red, probably I'll make it this color, and this is called Party Pink. Just so it clicks into place. You notice how fast it made the drawing here. This one may take a little longer because it's a lot longer word. I could have actually taken this image apart and made the text many different colors, but I decided to just go with the one color for now. We've got several other things we're going to want to draw on here as well. We've got the hearts and we've got the stars. Now it's asking us for our brick pen. Okay, let me just take that one out. We're going to have one for the stars later, which is going to be gold. Okay, that pen is finished. And finally, the one for the stars. Okay, we now need to load up our fine point blade. So let's take the scoring wheel out, put our fine point blade in. Okay, time to unload the mat. And then on the screen, I'm going to click on finish as soon as it appears. There we go. Click on finish. I'm just going to move my maker out of the way. There we go, so we can see the mat. I'm going to then put my pens away so they're not in our way. I'll just move those over here. And now I'm going to take off the backing from this. And here we have our pop-up card that we made all the wonderful little designs. This is a nice, simple project. And as usual, I take my mat and I roll it off the material rather than the other way around so it does not curl. And then of course you want to put the protective cover right back on your mat. So let's take a look at what we have here. Of course we have the outside of the card. And with the outside of the card, you can see the score line here. And what we want to do with the score line, let me just move my tools out of the way here. So you want to have something where it's going to make it easy. You could use a credit card. I use this wide or narrow. They have a narrow one as well, spatula. And when you fold these over initially, go at it very gently, make sure you're lining things up, and you'll see that it'll naturally go there. But once you've got it lined up, hold it on one side and push it to the outside, and then make that fold nice and crisp. Now, we didn't put any decorations on the outside, but we could handwrite something if we wanted to. Now, I'm just going to put that aside, and now's the time to take care of this one. Now this is our pop up, so which means we've got two slits here, and you can see the score line. You want this score line to come up, so I'm just going to give it a slight crease. I'm not going to really fold it into place quite yet because I want to get the edges at the same time, because what happens here is you want this to fold up and down, and it should all match. And it does. And I'm just going to give it what they call a little burnish here. So everything stays in place. I'm going to give it a burnish right there. And of course, those inner lines, we want to make sure they stay in place. So now when we push it this way, it'll come up this way. Now, the next thing we want to do is actually put those together so they become a card. Now they should match perfectly, and they do. So all we're going to do is glue the edges, top, bottom, right into here, and then we have our wonderful little pop-up card. So I do have some glue that I'm going to use here, and this one is a simple original tacky glue. It's Aleene's tacky glue. You can get it at most craft stores. And I'll just pull the top off here. Oh, looks like I've got a bit of extra here from the last time I was using it. I just move that over to the side. Make sure I don't get my desktop all messed up here. But what I want to do is make sure that these pieces all fit in together. And I want to get the edges here and here. This is the important part because that's where the stress of the card is going to be. And I don't need to match everything perfectly. Show you what I'm doing here. And those are the pieces I want to have in there. Okay, just put the lid back on my glue. Make sure I don't have anything really messed up here. Okay, so now the important part is you want things to match as best as possible. So I always come into the inside edge first, and the reason I use a tacky glue is because it will slide around until you have it exactly the way you want it. Now it does dry clear, so don't worry if you get a little extra on anything else. So I'm just going to push this into place. Make sure everything lines up here. If it's not perfect, like I say, with the tacky glue, you can move things into place. So here we are. We've got this wonderful little pop-up card. Got a little extra glue on the outside. We can put some other embellishments on here if you had other things that you wanted to write on there, such as happy birthday or anything else. You can glue anything you want on top of there. Sometimes you can just use beads. But this is a great little pop-up, and of course this is bonus number 14 out of the card compendium. So if you own the card compendium or the ultimate toolkit, this all comes with it. This is part of bonus 14, and I think we have 26 or 30 different bonuses that go with that card compendium, all different folds and cuts that you can use. So I really hope you had a lot of fun putting this together and adding some extra little items from shapes and from the images. And here's what we used. We used the Cricut pens. I used an Aleene's glue. I used some plain card stock from the Office Depot. And then, of course, the plain paper that I used here, I got at Joann's or Michael's. So that's all you need to make this cute little card. And I know you're absolutely going to love it. And until next time, happy crafting.